close it back. Let's go live. We are live here. Let's see. Let's go. Okay, so this is already moved here, right? On IG. We've already moved it around. I think they can see.
Yeah,
it.
You're good now.
Okay, so we're gonna go live.
Nope.
No?
You gotta click that one. Yeah.
You just click this.
There you go.
Checking connection. Crap, I don't think I disabled the, if somebody calls me, could knock it off. Perfect. Yeah, focus. Do not disturb.
There you go.
Okay, better. Okay. Just click. Perfect. All right, let's go live here.
I'll fix it real quick.
Okay, perfect. All right, we are live here today in our Facebook group. So we're going live here on about 7 different platforms. Holy schmoly. So we're going live here on our IG phone here. Welcome, IG. We love you guys. We're going to go over something very important today. We're also going live on StreamYard here on my desktop. So we're using StreamYard. We're going live inside our Facebook group, Sales Revolution. Got about 38,000 of you guys in there. Our Facebook business page, got about 90,000 followers in that bad boy. YouTube, LinkedIn, and my personal Facebook. All right, so we're going to go live here on IG, those platforms. When I go back and forth from my phone here to the desktop, you know what I'm talking about. We're also going live here on TikTok. We love you guys over here on the TikTok phone. Now, today, we're going to go over 2 objections that I know you pretty much get, whether you sell B2C or you sell B2B. How many times do you get to the end of a conversation or the end of your presentation or the end of your sales process and the prospect says, you know what, this sounds really good, but you know, I just really need to set and I need to pray about this. I really need to sit down and I really need to talk with my spouse. I need to talk with my, whoever. And I need to pray about this. How many of you lose sales? Or have you ever lost a sale when the prospect says, I need to pray about it? Now, I know I've seen some people are like, okay, let's pray about it. And they pray about it. Some people will go for that, but a lot of people won't because they feel like prayer is like something personal. Okay. So how many of you, if you've lost a sale or you lose sales to when a prospect says, I need to pray about it, type me in the comment section. Or if they're like, this is a big decision, I just really need to pray about it. If you lose sales because of that objection, type me. Now, the second, so I'm going to show you how to help your prospect overcome that. And how many of you also lose sales, whether you're in B2C or B2B, when the prospect says, we're just not sure if this is going to work for us, or we're not quite sure if this would work for what we do, or we're not quite sure if this will work for our industry. How many of you lose sales because of that objection? Okay, I know you do. Look, in the 4 industries I was in, during my 17-year sales career. Okay, I made a bit, if you don't know who I am, I made a bit over 33 million in straight commissions. I think the IRS took half of that, 50-50 profit for the IRS. All right. If you're listening to me, IRS, thank you very much. Love just giving all my money to you. But in my 17-year career, with that amount of income I made, 2 industries I was in were B2C. 2 of them were B2B, business to business sales. And in both industries, I got the I want to pray about it objection several times in the beginning because I didn't know how I was triggering that. So I learned how to prevent that from mainly happening most of the time. But you also are going to have that happen regardless. So we're going to go over that objection. And then we're going to cover the objection of, I don't know if this would work for what we do, or I don't know if this would work for me, or I'm not quite sure it worked for our company, or I'm not quite sure it worked for our department, or I'm not quite sure it worked for our industry. So I'm going to go over both of those objections for you. And I actually wrote them down on this vibe board behind me. And I want you to pay attention because I'm going to show you the tonality on what you need to do to overcome them. All right. It's very important that you don't just read what I say like a robot, but the mannerisms that I do, I'm going to show you how that works and why it works. Okay. Now, if you are brand new to our Facebook group, okay, my name is Jeremy Miner. I'm the chairman and founder of 7th Level, right? So if you're brand new, watch me on IG, TikTok, Facebook groups, YouTube. Now, we're an organization that trains salespeople exactly like you watching me here right now. So we train sales professionals like you. We train sales executives like you. We train sales leaders, management like you. We train coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, business owners like you. And we train you and your teams how to use specific skilled questions and techniques that work with human behavior. Now, what does that mean? Work with human behavior rather than work against it. Are you using techniques that are triggering sales resistance? Are you getting a lot of objections at the beginning of your calls or at the end? Well, there's something you're saying or not asking that's triggering that in the prospect's brain. Now, we call that NEPQ. It stands for Neuro-Emotional Persuasion Questioning, okay? So we have to teach you the right tonality that puts your prospects at ease, eliminate sales resistance. How many more sales would you make on a weekly basis if you knew how to eliminate sales resistance where the prospect actually opened up to you and went below the surface rather than saying surface level with you? We're going to talk a little bit about that today as well. Now, if you're on the live right now, I want you to go down to the bottom of your phone. So if you're on live right now, go down to the bottom of your phone, and I want you to post #live. So if you're on the live right now, go post #live. And if you're on the replay, so TikTok, IG, Facebook groups, YouTube, LinkedIn, doesn't matter. If you're on the replay, post #retail. I better see hundreds of hashtag likes and a lot of hashtag replays for me to give you this training, all right? Now, I also want you to smash the heart button, and I want you to smash the like button. I better see hundreds of smashed hearts, hundreds of smashed likes. You know, I could be out golfing today. It's like 70 degrees, Blake. It's pretty nice out there. Yeah, I could just wear a long sleeve shirt and go out golfing today.
Perfect.
So post #live, #replay, smash the heart button, smash the like button. Now, if you want to start acquiring, because what I do here on these lives and the stories, if you're following me on IG or the Facebook group or YouTube or LinkedIn or TikTok, you see all my reels out there. We do like 160 of those a month. Those are little nibbles that we give you. Those are they're basic. They're like a basic overview, they're like little hors d'oeuvres, all right? If you want to acquire the same skills, so if you want to acquire the same skills, the same sales ability that our clients have who are in the same exact industry that you are, that are more than likely probably making 2, 3 to 5 times more than you are, not because they're cool, or they have cool hair or cool fingernails, or they're really tall or short or whatever. It's because they just have different skill sets than you. They've acquired skills that work with human behavior rather than work against it. They brush their teeth like you. They go to the bathroom like you. They eat food like you. They even drink water, I've heard. And they even have trials and tribulations like all of us. The only thing that sets them apart is what they now have as far as knowledge or sales ability. So you want to acquire those skills. You want to start making your first 10 grand a month in commissions with what you sell. If you want to start making your first 15 grand a month in commissions with what you sell, or your first 20 grand a month in commissions with what you sell, or let's say you you would think bigger. You want to make 25, 30 grand a month in commissions, or 40 or 50 grand a month in commissions with what you sell in your industry. Because I can assure you, we are trained salespeople in your industry that make those numbers every single day like clockwork. It's easy for them now. If you want to acquire those skills, message me directly right now. If you're on IG, if you're on TikTok, message me directly right now. If you're in the Facebook group, LinkedIn, my Facebook or the Facebook page, message me directly right now. If you can't figure out how to message me directly, post #NEPQ. Post #NEPQ, and either myself or one of my stunt doubles will message you different training options that we have for your industry if you want to acquire those skills to make that type of money day in and day out. All right, I digress. Blake, should we give them the goods here? Blake's our videographer. That's what I'm talking about here.
So.
Okay, so Blake, will you flip this around for the so they can see that here? I don't know, or maybe could they see that here like that, or should we flip it around?
I'll give them a wider view.
Okay, give them a wider view there. Okay. All right, so make sure you write this down. Now, a couple of notes for us to go over. Where's my pen? There's my pen, baby. All right. Now, the first thing, so let's talk about the I want to pray about it objection. Okay, the first thing we have to do, like any concern, is we have to clarify to find out what the concern actually means. Like, what is behind when the prospect says, I need to pray about it? Well, what do they need to pray about? Like, what are they praying about? What is the concern? Because is pray about it an objection? No. There's something they want to pray about that's the real objection. So how do you disarm the prospect? Okay, remember, how do you disarm the prospect? All right, so how do you disarm the prospect to get them to let their guard down and tell you what they really want to pray about? Okay, now, let me clarify this. If you're in B2C sales, business to consumer, and or B2B sales, you will actually get this. Like when I was, like I said, I was in 2 B2C industries in my 17-year sales career. The other 2 industries I sold were business to business. Both of those, I got that objection, especially in the beginning. I even got that in B2B sales when I was selling to CEOs of large enterprise companies like Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000 companies. I actually had a few people down in Texas and Alabama and Mississippi and in the South, sometimes even in the North, that would say they needed to pray about it. Okay. Now, prospect says this, you know, Philip, this is a big decision for us, and we just really need to take some time and pray about it. Now, what's the first thing out of your mouth? The first thing we have to do is we have to disarm the prospect. Because if we go into rebuttal mode and say, well, what do you really need to pray about? You said that you wanted this you have this XYZ problem. What do you need to pray about? If we throw out some type of rebuttal, or if we're like, okay, let's go ahead and pray, and you just sit there like that, it's going to make a lot of people feel uncomfortable. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to make everybody uncomfortable, but you want to make sure everybody that gives you that objection feels comfortable in telling you the truth. Because if you just grab their hands like, okay, let's pray, that'll work with a few people, but it won't work with most. And that's what you're missing. Okay. So what do? The prospect says, this is a big decision. We're going to pray about it. You say, yeah, that's not a problem. So you just agree. Yeah, I can understand that. You can say, yeah, I can understand that. Or yeah, that's not a problem. Okay. Then you say this. This is really key here. Okay. And I'm going to show you this. Everybody see me here? Yeah, that's not a problem. Now, when you say that you want to pray about it, like what specific parts of what we went over do you feel like you really need to pray about? Now, let me go back on what I just did there in case you didn't pick that up. I agree with them. Yeah, that's not a problem. That disarms them, helps them let their guard down because you're agreeing with them. Then you say, now when you say pray about it, like what specific parts of what we went over do you feel that you really need to pray about? Now, why am I emphasizing that you really need to pray about it? Because then the prospect gets more emotional. If I say it like this, yeah, that's not a problem. Now, when you say pray about it, what specific parts of what we went over do you feel like you really need to pray about it? Oh, I don't know. It's just a big decision. I just want to pray about it. That's what you're going to get. But if I change my tonality and I change my body language, because even if I'm on the phone and they give that objection, they can't see me. When I change my body language, that affects what? My tonality. Okay, just like an actor or actress does in Hollywood. When you watch their movies, everything they say, for the most part, is 100% scripted. But does it sound scripted? It doesn't. It sounds natural. Like, let's move this back here. I don't know if they can see that very good on TikTok right there. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think they're having a hard time seeing that on the screen. Okay. All right. So I don't know if you can move that back for them or where they can see it a little bit better, maybe a better angle or something. Okay. So let me repeat that again. Yeah, that's not a problem. Now, John, when you say pray about it, what specific parts of what we went over do you feel like you really need to pray about? Now, when I say what parts or what aspects of what we went over do you feel like you really need to pray about, they're going to think what? They're going to go to what parts or what part of what I went over do they feel like they need to pray about? And that tells me what the real objection is. Do you mean what I mean by that? Do you know what I mean by that? How do you know when to soften and where to slow down? Right there, Michael. So that's a question from somebody on Facebook. So you slow down right there. So what specific parts of what we went over do you feel that you really need to pray about? And you lowered your voice, the empathy there. See how I did that? I slowed that down. You have to slow that down. You have to slow this last part down with your tone. And this is not all you have to do here. This is just the beginning here. The prospect says, well, I just feel we need to pray about it because it's a big decision. It's a lot of money, and I'm just not sure if we have the budget for it. Now, what did I just find out? The concern is not they need to pray about it. The concern is what? That they don't know if they have the budget. It's a money objection that you just found out. Well, or they might say something, well, it's just a big decision, and we're not quite sure how we'd integrate it with our department over at XYZ. That's the concern, not praying about it. That's not the concern. It's what do they need to pray about, okay? Does that make sense to you what I just did? Now, I'm going to go over that with you again so you get this, okay? This is really important. And then I'm going to show you what to do right after this when they tell you what the real concern is. Yeah, John, that's not a problem. Now, when you say pray about it, like what specific parts of what we went over do you feel that you really need to pray about? See, I emphasize that you really need to pray about. They're going to emphasize that back because it forces them to think deeper about what I just said. Okay. Well, I just feel like we need to pray about it because it's a lot of money and we're just not sure if we have the budget. Now you know the real concern, and then you handle that. Okay. That's a money concern. You handle that. Now, after you've handled that, okay, you're then going to say this. Let's go to the next page. Okay. So after you handle whatever their objection was, you have to then go back to the pray about it thing. Okay. And you say it like this. Okay. Well, okay. Say you overcome the money concern where it was. So John, how do you feel God would feel about, and then you repeat back what they said they wanted. So this is the formula. Okay. This is generic here. Like I said, we train every industry, according to Forbes, we train every industry now at this point. We're in over 158 different industries. This is the formula that you have to plug in. How do you feel God would feel about? And then you repeat back what they said they wanted. Okay. Now I'm going to give you like 5 different industry specific examples so you can see what it looks like. Okay. Now, if your industry is not in here, you're going to use this formula up here. So I'm going to give you 5 different industries just randomly. I just pulled this out of the hat before I got on here. Okay. So let's say in this example, you sell mortgage protection, some type of life insurance policies that protect people's mortgages. So when they pass away, either their house payment is made for the next year or 2 years, or the home is completely paid off. It's called mortgage protection or like life insurance. Okay. So then I say, so what specific parts do you feel like, that we went over, do you feel like you really need to pray about? Well, I'm not sure the money and the budget, blah, blah. You help them resolve that. Then you come back and say, well, how do you feel God would feel about you guys having the financial protection in place for Cindy and the kids? So when you pass away, they're completely taken care of without any stress like most people go through who don't have that specific plan put in place. Like, what do you think God would want you to do? So let me repeat that again. Okay, let's say if you sold life insurance, how do you feel God would feel? How do you feel God would feel about, and I'm repeating back what they said they wanted, which was more coverage so that the family and home is protected. Okay, that's what they said they wanted. I'm repeating that back. See, I'm plugging that in. Doesn't matter the industry. I'm going to show you other industries that are completely different in a second on this. Yeah. So how do you feel God would feel about you having the protection in place? So when you pass away, this is written wrong here. Sorry, made a mistake. I'm going to go over that. Blake, you missed one thing. It's all right. It's not your fault, dude. All right. So I'm going to repeat this. I just missed a couple words. This is my fault. I told Blake to do it wrong. So how do you feel God would feel about you having the financial protection in place? So for Cindy and the kids, for when you pass away, they're completely taken care of without all that stress that most people go through because they don't have this specific plan. Like, what do you think God would want you to do for the family? What do you feel God would want you to do? It's going to be very hard for them to come back and say, no, I don't think he'd want me to protect my spouse and children financially if you sold life insurance. Okay. Now that's for that. Okay. Let's go to a completely different industry. And you're going to notice, let's say if you sell lead generation, okay? Let's say if you sell to companies, I always have Blake write these because he has way better handwriting than I do. That's the secret here. I write like a doctor, right? So let's say if you sold lead generation to SMB type of companies, they want a higher quality lead so they can scale their company. You're going to notice the formula is almost identical here, okay? Let's watch this. Okay. So how do you feel God would feel about you guys getting a higher quality lead to your sales teams so you can start scaling the company and helping more of your prospects solve their problems? So how do you feel God would feel about you guys getting a higher quality lead to your sales teams so you can start scaling the company and, like you had mentioned, get up to 30 million in revenue this year? Notice I'm repeating back what they said they wanted, okay? Then I could say, what do you feel like he would want you to do? So how do you feel God would feel about you guys getting a higher quality lead to your sales teams so you can start scaling the company and get up to 30 million in revenue this year? Like, what do you feel God would want you to do? It'd be hard for them to say, I don't think he'd want me to scale my company. I don't think he'd want me to get a higher quality lead so we can grow the company. They're not going to say that. They're going to be like, I think he'd want me to do that. Okay. Let's say, here's another example. Okay. Completely different industry. Let's say that you sold business consulting to companies, small companies, maybe medium companies, and you teach them how to scale. You teach them how to put in the right systems, the right marketing processes, the right operations to really grow their company. I'm going to give you a few more after this in completely different industries as well. Okay. So Sally, how do you feel God would feel about you guys putting in the right systems and operations to scale the company to 100 million in the next year to help more of your clients? If that's what they said they want to do, like, we really want to scale the company. We've got a message that we want to get out in the world. We know we can help people. If that's what they said they wanted, that's what I'm repeating back. Well, how do you feel God would feel about you guys putting in the right systems, the right operations to scale your company? So like you had said, you could get your message out into the world. Like, what do you feel God would want you to do? Nope, I don't think he'd want me to get my message out in the world. If you sold that, okay, it's very hard for them to say no to that, okay? Now, let me give you another example. Let's say if you sold solar. We train thousands of people in this industry as well. And their main thing is solar saves them money. And typically after 25 years of paying for that bill, after they've saved money on that bill, then at the end of the 25 years, they have no bill at all. So their power is completely free. So a lot of times when they get older and they're on a limited income on Social Security and their rates go up, 10, 20% every single year, well, that adds up after 20, 25 years when they're trying to retire. Now they're on a limited income. Now they're on Social Security and they can't pay that bill. That could be a problem. All right. So I might say, well, how do you feel God would feel about you saving that $80 to $90 a month? Then in 25 years, when you retire and you're on Social Security, you don't have to pay another electric bill ever. You get to keep that money to help others. Like, what do you think God would want you to do? Okay, see how that works. It's the same structure. You're quite literally repeating back what they said they wanted and asking them what they feel God would want them to do after they just said what they wanted. It's going to be very hard psychologically for any prospect to say, nope, I don't think God would want me to have what I said I wanted. It's impossible, okay? See how that works. Just human behavior 101. Let's go to another completely different industry. What if you sold fitness? You sold some type of fitness that helps people lose weight. Because if they don't lose weight, what happens? They end up dying younger because all that weight puts pressure on their organs like their heart. That's a big reason why people have heart attacks and strokes. They put a lot of weight on their organs and it clogs up their arteries and they die when they're in their early 50s rather than dying when they're 85 or 90. So the problem is they don't get to walk their daughter down the aisle when she gets married. They don't get to hang out with their grandkids like healthier people do, right? So that's why they're coming to you to lose weight. And then so they say, I really need to pray about it. You take them through that objection. You take them through that concern. You find out it's a money thing. You help them resolve that. Then you come back. Well, how do you feel God would feel about you losing the 65 pounds to prevent a heart attack, like you mentioned, and you're able to watch your grandkids grow up? Like, what would God want you to do? See how you're putting that back in. Well, if they respond, I don't know what God wants me to do. That's what, well, in your mind, when you pray, does God want you to lose the 65 pounds so you have time to be with your grandkids and you live to your 85 or 90? Or would God want you to keep all the weight on and then have a heart attack and not be able to walk your daughter down the aisle? Like, in your mind, what do you think God would really want you to do? Hopefully that answers your question, Facebook users. That's an easy one, all right? Well, you tell me, like, what would God want you to do? Would he want you, let's go back to solar. You tell me, what would God want you to do? Would he want you to save the $80 a month so you can use that to donate to your church and help other people? And in 25 years, you have no bill, so you have more money and you can travel. Would he want you to do that? Or would he want you to pay more money than you have to? And then in 25 years, you're still paying a much higher bill. And then because you're on Social Security, you can't afford to power the home. Like, what do you think God would want you to do? See, that's an easy one. Let's go back again. Okay, business consulting. Well, you tell me, like, if they're like, I'm not sure, that's why I need to pray. I don't know what God would want me to do. Well, I don't know. Would God want you to put in the right systems and operations so you can scale the company to get to 50 million, like you said, and you can help other people and bless their lives? Or would he want you to keep struggling in this aspect and your company never takes off and you're not able to help many people? Like, what would God want you to do? Same thing. Let's go again. This is simple. Lead generation. Well, you tell me, what would God want you to do? Would he want you to get a higher quality lead so your salespeople grow the business and you start scaling? You're able to help other people and you're able to pay for your kids' tuition and not have to stress out about it? Or would he want you to get these lower quality leads and your company never really grows, like what would God want you to do? See how that works. All right. Hopefully that answered your question there. Okay. You're just re-asking that. Notice it's the same formula for industry to industry. It does not matter. Okay. Now let's go to the next objection. All right. What do you say if the prospect says this is for B to B or B to C? Okay. You could get this. I don't know if it'll work for me, or I don't know it'll work for what we do, or I don't know if it'll work for our situation, or I don't know if it'll work for our industry. Okay, that's very similar, right? Does that make sense to everybody? All right. Now, depending on what you sell, you could get this quite a bit. So let me give you some different scenarios on how this would work. All right. Prospect says, I'm not quite sure this would actually work for us, Jane. Well, how do you mean by that? So you want to ask first a clarifying question. Okay. So let's look here. You would say, in what way, or how do you mean, or what wouldn't work specifically? This is first you have to clarify, because you don't know what they mean when they say, I don't know if it'll work for us. Do you? Do you know? Because every prospect could be different. So you want to say, in what way wouldn't it work? Or how do you mean it wouldn't work for you? Or what wouldn't work specifically, just so I understand? Well, we're not sure if it'd be able to X, Y, and Z. Okay. Then you're going to ask, so can I ask why you feel like it wouldn't be able to do X, Y, and Z? Can I ask why you feel like it wouldn't be able to do X, Y, and Z, just so I have a better background? Okay, see what we're doing. So we're clarifying what they mean. They tell us what they mean, why they feel like it might not work. And you say, why do you feel like it wouldn't be able to X, Y, Z, and repeat that back? Then they're going to tell you that, okay? And then you're going to do this, all right? Once you find that out, you're going to say, so if there was a way that it could, you're going to repeat back what they said it wouldn't do. So if there was a way it could, repeat back what they said they could do, would you be opposed to looking at that if we walked you through some different scenarios? If there was a way it could, repeat back what they said it wouldn't do, would you be opposed to looking at that if we walked you through how it might work? Now, most of them are going to say, no, I'm not opposed, because they want to say no. So you're going to give them a no when they say, no, I wouldn't be opposed. Okay. You don't want to say, would you be open there? You say, would you be opposed to looking at that if we walked you through how it could? If there was a way that it could, would you be opposed to looking at that if we walked you through it? Nobody's going to say, no, they're going to say, yes, I'd be opposed. I don't want you to walk me through it. They're going to say, yes. What do you have in mind? Now, let me give you an industry specific example, just so you can kind of see how this works. So in this example, let's say if you sold medical device sales, you're in medical device sales, trained thousands in that industry as well. And the doctor said, or the department head at the hospital said, well, we're just unsure. Let's say if you sold knee replacement, I'm just making something up. Well, we're unsure if the knee replacement would work as good as what we're already using. Okay. Probably said, well, I'm not sure this model would work as good as the ABC model we've been using for the past 5 years. You would say what? You would say, well, in what way, or what do you mean specific, or what aspects or parts do you feel wouldn't work as well, just so I understand? You don't want to say parts. Well, what aspect do you feel wouldn't work as well, just so I understand? Or what part do you feel like wouldn't work as well, just so I have a better understanding? Well, I don't think it might not do this, okay? And then you're going to say this right here. It's the same format. It's very easy. So, Joan, help me here. If there was a way that this XYZ model could do all of that, but also be able to cut your operative time by 50%. So let's say that their main reason why they came to you originally or agreed to talk to you is because the knee replacement they were using before had a longer operative time. Like it just took longer. And because it took longer, they were only able to do 2 surgeries a day. And you're saying that your solution allows them to cut that in half, where they can do 4 surgeries a day, which would double the revenue of that hospital, right? See how that works? So if there was a way that this XYZ model could do all of that, but still be able to cut your operative time by 50% so you could see more patients, would you be opposed to exploring that further? Would you be opposed to exploring that further with us? Okay, I'm going to repeat that again. So if there was a way that this XYZ model could do all of that, like you just mentioned, but could also, like you'd also mentioned, cut your operative time down by 50% so you could see almost twice as many patients, would you be opposed at exploring that with us further if we could show you that? It's going to be, most people are like, sure, I'd be opposed. What do you have in mind? Okay. And that's how you help them overcome I'm not quite sure this would work for me, or I'm not quite sure this would work for what we do, or I'm not quite sure this would work for my industry. You first want to clarify in what way, or how do you mean, or what do you feel like wouldn't work specifically? Okay. And then you're asking them why they feel that part wouldn't work. And then you're going to go into the next solution here. If there was a way that it could, repeat back what they said they wouldn't, would you be opposed to looking at that if we walked you through it? Okay. Hopefully that helps you guys today. That's all I've got for you today. Now, we will be going live tomorrow in the Facebook group. So every Wednesday, we go live in the Facebook group. So you want to make sure if you're on IG or if you're on TikTok, you want to make sure that you join our Facebook group, okay? Because we don't go live a ton on IG and TikTok. So make sure you join our Facebook group. We had somebody pop that in there. Thank you, Blake. salesrevolution.pro. So make sure you guys go to sales. Thank you, Felicia. Go to salesrevolution.pro. If you're on TikTok, you want to go to salesrevolution.pro. We go live in the Facebook group 3 to 4 times a week, different Q&As, different trainings. We'll be going live tomorrow on there at 6 p.m. Eastern. Every week, we break down the sales process of one of our clients who is in a completely different industry every single week. Clients that went from $3,000 a month, $5,000 a month, that now make $30,000 a month, $40,000 a month, $50,000 a month, and many of them are in your industry that you're in, watching me right now. So we break down their sales process. We show them the tonality and the questions that we've taught them how to use and why, and you can take that and use it for your industry. Now, you want to make sure you're in the Facebook group because we don't do that on IG or TikTok. We have to do that through StreamYard tomorrow. Now, what I just gave you was a little nibble today. If you guys follow me on my reels, we do a bunch of reels every month, but those are little nibbles. Imagine a 100,000 piece puzzle, and the reels and these little things that you see on me and my stories and little stuff in the Facebook group, that's like one piece of the 100,000 piece puzzle that we give you access to. So if you want to learn NEPQ, the same structure like our clients are, who are in the same industry that you're in right now, who are more than likely making 2 to 3 to 5 times more what you are now. If you want to be like them, message me directly right now. So if you want to start making your first 10 grand a month in commissions in your industry, like every single month, if you want to start making your first 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 grand a month in commissions every single month in your industry, message me directly right now. So if you're on IG or TikTok, message me directly right now. If you're on YouTube, you want to join the Facebook group, YouTube, because we can't message you on LinkedIn or on YouTube, all right? And if you're in LinkedIn, the Facebook group, my Facebook or the Facebook business page, message me directly right now. Or if you can't figure out to message me directly because you're an old dude like me, you can't figure out social media like me, then in the comment section, post hashtag NEPQ, and either myself or one of my surrogates or stunt doubles will message you back some different training options we have for your industry if you want to make that type of income. All right, folks, we love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Just gave you a little nibble today. See you tomorrow on the Facebook group. Stay out of trouble. Okay, IG, love you guys. Get out of here. Make sure you join the Facebook group, Sales Revolution. You're on YouTube or LinkedIn. Join the Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro, salesrevolution.pro. Check your DMs right after that. We'll send you over a free training called the NEPQ 101 mini course. All right? And I will see everybody tomorrow. Get out of here.